Hello, I'm Fred Shaheen. I'm director of the Nonprofit Leadership Institute at Francis Marion University in Florence, South Carolina. The program has been underway for a number of years, and it was begun under the administration of Dr. Fred Carter, the president of Francis Marion University. We believe it has become the preeminent training program for nonprofit executives in the state of South Carolina, and annually it attracts about 30 students from throughout the state. The Leadership Institute has a very close alliance with the South Carolina Association of Nonprofit Organizations and with a very large number of nonprofit organizations in our state. We hope very much that those of you who view this site will encourage your employees and your board members to enroll in the Institute. It runs for approximately 8 months. There are 11 days of training during the 8th month period. The faculty is drawn from all over the United States. Some from the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill, some from Harvard, some from Tennessee, some from South Carolina, of course. And we believe that the Institute has rightly earned a rich reputation in the state, in the region, and in the country. Do that, and whether you use it or not will be up to you, but it'd be better to have it than to not have it.
Not have it.
Yeah.
What I'll do is, and then you can just sort of look at me, because it'll be like an interview.
Yeah.
Okay, and you stay right there. But tell me this, what can a student learn from participating in the nonprofit leadership?
The curriculum encompasses a wide array of subjects that we believe are useful to nonprofit executives and staff members and board members, and we do have some board members who enroll. The curriculum importantly covers fundraising, and that's very important for nonprofit organizations, personnel management, public relations, accountability, how to meet regulatory requirements of the federal and state government, and other personnel management and other subjects that every nonprofit organization, large or small, must deal with. We readily understand that there are very small nonprofit organizations that have a small number of employees, and there are very large organizations that have hundreds of employees, but the program is crafted to be relevant to all of those organizations, large or small.
What would you tell a person who is thinking about attending but says, well, I don't know if it would be worth it, I'm just a small organization? What advice would you give them?
First of all, the tuition is very modest. Francis Marion University heavily subsidizes the program, so the cost to attend is extremely modest. I think that small organizations should take advantage of the opportunity to perfect their organization, their management structure, and their techniques. In addition to that, it prepares them to grow. And I know that all these organizations hope they will expand their scope and mission and their financial resources. Every nonprofit organization, every nonprofit, regardless of size, deals with the financial issues and the fundraising issues. And those two are essential ingredients in the curriculum at the Nonprofit Leadership Institute.
Should nonprofits look at themselves as businesses?
Well, my view is that they should look at themselves as businesses in terms of managing their resources well, in terms of their accountability to their constituents and their donors. But they should not look at themselves as businesses in terms of their mission. Because if the mission of nonprofit organizations could readily be handled by the private sector, there would be no need for nonprofit organizations. And nonprofit organizations have a broader mission and a broader world to serve than the private sector. So there's a place for the private sector. There's a place for nonprofit organizations with a broad mission that cannot be answered by the private sector. And of course there's a place for the public sector.
Now tell me this, in these hard economic times, and you touched on this a little bit, what can a nonprofit learn from attending the Leadership Institute. These are tough economic times for people who have regular jobs, and so what can you tell a nonprofit that this is how we will help you handle your resources and perhaps raise funds for your organization?
Well, the first important thing I want to say is that the faculty members of the nonprofit organization, who are experts in various fields, including fundraising, are always available to the students of the nonprofit institute. So that expertise becomes a permanent resource through communication, electronic and otherwise, so that you have access to a large number of experts in the field who are on the faculty at Francis Marion University's Institute. So that's very important. Secondly, the fundraising issue and financial resources have become extremely critical during the recent recession. Now, hopefully we're coming out of the recession, but the wise advice that comes from the faculty members on how to maintain financial resources, how to look for alternative sources of money, how to manage those resources well, has become even more important during these lean times. And we do have many suggestions during the course of the program about how to diversify financial resources, how to manage them well, and how to look for new money. And that's a very important part of the program.
Okay, well, we talked about money, the experiences they would get, from why they should apply.
I think one important part of the program is complying with federal and state requirements. And the federal and state requirements are becoming very stringent now. At one time, the federal government did not really have a lot to say about how nonprofit organizations operate. They were content to issue the Internal Revenue Service ruling making them nonprofit, and then letting nonprofits operate without much oversight. That has dramatically changed in recent years. There are very new and stringent requirements from the Internal Revenue Service that have to be met by all nonprofits, and the Institute covers all of that material so that the people who are in the Institute know how to comply with federal and state reporting requirements. They have become stringent, they have become more stringent, and in fact, the signs are that they will become even more stringent. So we really have to be knowledgeable about the regulatory authority from the federal and state governments on nonprofit organizations.
Now, talk about something. It's not all work. There's some play. You have a retreat in Myrtle Beach every year. Is that right?
Yeah, well, the social and networking aspect of the Nonprofit Leadership Institute is very important, very important. And the people who are in the classes maintain permanent relationships and do confer with each other, not only with respect to operations, but also with respect to advancement and job openings in the different nonprofit organizations. So the networking aspect is extremely important. In addition to that, during the program, we have a major public speaker every month to come in and address issues which are of concern in the public sector and the private sector to nonprofit organizations. So we add that element to it. And once a year we bring back all of the, we invite all of the alumni of the Nonprofit Leadership Institute to a retreat meeting, recently held at Myrtle Beach every year. Once it was held at Clemson at an area up there, a resort area up there. But we do have an annual alumni meeting when everybody comes back together and shares their experiences and learns new things, and we update them on developments that affect nonprofit organizations. But I think the networking aspect, the social aspect, and the public speakers who come in are important elements of it above and beyond the curriculum.
Okay, well, I think he basically answered most of the questions, why they should attend and all this good stuff.